everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Okay, I Said Too Much podcast. I said I was dropping the okay. Honestly, I haven't made up my mind yet. I think on my socials and stuff, we're going to say I said too much podcast, but we'll see what happens. So, welcome back to another episode. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode. I think the audio and everything turned out really great. I started using Riverside for recordings, and I think it does actually like a really good job. It's nice because it tells me when I'm talking way too loud. So that's like my favorite part. But yeah, we are back with another episode. This episode is going to be kind of controversial. I have a couple of topics in here that people might not like. This might be the start of my comments off journey. No, I'm just kidding. I would never turn my comments off because what's a comment going to do to me? I don't care about comment. I always say that like social media comments are never going to be something I care about. Like I made a TikTok. It's going to be by the time you guys are hearing this, it's going to be like weeks ago. And I was like, the meanest people on the internet are people who comment under like posts about people needing to rehome their dog. And like the people in the comments just like prove the point of like, they're terrible people. And I'm just like, y'all are just mean. I told this one girl, I was like, you just want to be mean. So I'm just going to let you have it. Like, because one thing I realized about myself, and I guess this goes into like what we're talking about today, but like one thing I realized about myself is I feel like I've taken not caring to the extreme. Like there's not many things that I'm like, oh my God, I care so deeply about that. Like that I have to comment something negative. Like, of course, if people are like, I don't know how much you can say on YouTube. This is like my first time like being on YouTube. But like, of course, if you're like rapists, murderers, pedophiles, like, of course, like then yeah, you're the scum of the earth. Then I would comment all the mean things, but I just don't care. Most things that people do in their day-to-day life, I do not care about enough to comment and say something mean about. Yeah. And so this takes us right into the topic of today's episode, and it's TikTok's worst takes. And I think I've done an episode like this before, but I think it was TikTok's worst advice. But this is TikTok's worst takes. And I say this because, yeah, I've made a TikTok about this. You know how like the CIA dropped crack in the hood in the 80s to like break up the like home, the black home. This is how I feel about some of these TikTok comments because it just takes a hold of the black community and it's like, let us go. Like, why are we talking about these things? Why have we been talking about them for 40 days and 40 nights? Like, at some point, we just have to let it go. And so this is why I wanted to do an episode on it. I think there's like one in here that's like people would be like, that's actually slightly controversial, but I don't know what to tell you guys. Stop talking about it. And if you stop talking about it, I'll stop talking about it. Okay. So I think we should put this energy into better things like dismantling white supremacy. But hey, that's just me. So we're going to get into it. First things first, I think this is the most recent thing that has been talked about on TikTok that I was just like, why are we having this conversation? And that is coffee dates. My God. So this girl made a TikTok and she was like, this guy suggested a coffee date. And I said no. And now I am at McAllister's taking myself out to eat. This is probably just as bad as the cheesecake conversation when that girl wouldn't get out the car because that man took her to Cheesecake Factory for a date. This is probably up there with that one. Personally, that's what I would say with how terrible of a take this is. Like, I wouldn't even say her take. Like, you can go and do whatever type of dates you want to do. It's just everything that spawned off of talking about coffee dates. Like, it became like, oh, well, you're not that pretty, so you should just accept a coffee date. Or I'm just going to jump in head first. I think in 2025, a weird phenomenon is like, who wants to be the most like tricked out? Who wants to be the woman dating the most rich man? Who wants to be the woman that has the most bags from a guy? Who wants to be, like I said, everyone's trying to out trick the next woman when it comes to dating. And I feel like dating is so shitty right now where it's like, we should just be focusing on how shitty dating is for the average woman. And I think that's the thing. These conversations are being like, taking place and a lot of it is just not conducive to the average woman. And I think it goes to like not only like who wants to be the most tricked out, but like also everyone wants to be an influencer. Everyone wants to be doing this. Everyone wants to be doing that. And so it's like, well, of course I can't date an average man with a 9 to 5. That would just be absolutely fucking insane. But it's like, that's most women's reality. And the reason why I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about a coffee date is because some people are single moms. Some people are just working multiple jobs to survive and have money left over. So why would I feel any type of way about that person going on a coffee date? Okay. Some people feel like their time is worth more than just an hour coffee date. That's fine too. Me personally, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't been on a lot of dates, and you could say that's why I think the way I think is because I haven't been on a lot of dates. Every day I've been on, I've never been on a coffee date for the days I haven't been on. But you could say this is why I think that way. But like, I haven't been on a lot of dates. But I love a quick exit date. I remember the last day I went on, I was with this man, and he lived like way into like, I live in like a suburb of like the big city in North Carolina. He lived like in the city. And so we were like 45 minutes from each other, like already. And so he picked a restaurant that was closer to him and I drove. To me, that's not a quick exit. One, there's also this conversation of like, oh, a man has to pick me up. No man's picking me up. If I do not know you, you will not know where I live. And no, you're not giving me an Uber. I need to be able to escape when I need to be able to escape. There's no way. I guess that's just not really a conversation a lot of people are having, but like that's my conversation. I need to be able to escape when I want to escape. Why would I coffee dates sound great? I saw this one girl, her name's Kinsey Elizabeth. And this is why I think it's like these are topics plopped into the Black community by the CIA to also do exactly what drugs did. Because this white creator, her name's Kinsey Elizabeth, she was going to do 10 dates in 30 days. No matter, like, if it could be the same person multiple times or what, but she was going to do 10 dates in 30 days. And so all of her dates were drinks. They just went for drinks. They just went and got a couple of drinks. She would make plans with like her friends afterwards or whatever, but it always was like an hour, 45 minutes, just get drinks. Okay? That is essentially the same thing. That's it. I get it because like drinks, you might have multiple, so he's spending a little bit more money. Coffee is typically like $7. Boom. And that's it. So it's like a $14 date. So it's like people see it as like a cheap date. But if that cheap date is making someone happy, then that cheap date is making someone happy. I think that's what it comes down to for me. Like, if someone wants to do it, why does that then diminish their value as a person? And I think that's what the conversation turned into. And that's what I didn't like. And especially when it comes to Black women, if a Black woman feels like her time is precious and so she wants to go on like a 45-minute coffee date because then she can do so many other things for the rest of her day, then that's perfectly okay. Like, I feel like it became this conversation of like, you feel like your worth is tied to the dollar amount of a date. That is what your worth is tied to. Your worth is tied to if your man can buy you bags and purses and take you on fancy trips and all that. And this goes directly into my next TikTok take that I hate when it gets brought up, and it's like 50-50. Like, how a man is spending his money on you, how a man is showing up in the relationship financially. Like, there's this one, and I will say, shout out to her because she took this topic and made a whole brand off of it and now has like so many followers, like completely changed her situation around. I'm blanking on her name now and I wish I knew her name because I want y'all to be able to go like find these people and like give them credit, but like I'm just blanking on her name right now. But basically she made TikTok about how she lost her job and she was going to lose her place. And so she's asking her current boyfriend if she could live with him. And he basically was like, no. And that she has now flipped it around. Her whole brand is like calling men broke and like whatever. I love that. I love that for y'all. I love that for y'all. Like, my parents weren't necessarily 50-50 growing up. It was more they both worked. All the money went to a pot. My dad was like, you got it. Pay the bills. Do what you need to do. You got it. Like, he just kind of sat back. Which will probably be how like I handle finances with a current partner because I am a regular person. And that's what it always goes back to for me. Most people, I would say 75% of people are still just going to be regular people. 75% of people are going to be regular people dating regular people with regular jobs. You both make like 65,000 and put it together. That's most people's reality. And so I think when the internet becomes this whole like men needs to do this, men needs to do that, men needs to pay, it becomes overwhelming to someone who may not be living that life. And I think the biggest thing what we should teach women is that you want a man who's 100% emotionally 100 can give you 100% of himself emotionally, and that's what we should be teaching young women. It shouldn't just be financial. I think a lot of women get themselves in financial relationships and then they can't leave, or the man treats them like shit. And just like, I think more topics should be less 50-50 and what a man is doing for you financially, and more what a man can do for you emotionally, and like how like, there's just more to it. Like, my biggest thing about a man, so I've had lots of car issues in the past, and is having a man that can just pay to get your car fixed cool. But do you know how sexy it is when a man can fix your car and is willing to fix your car? Please. Okay, and I'm saying this as someone whose braids on top of my head was funded by my man. And then he took me to dinner that same day. Okay? I'm saying that. But I can load anything on my man emotionally. My man, if he needs to change my oil, could change my oil. He can fix things. My boyfriend so my apartment, we got new carpet and new like vinyl. He moved everything out of my apartment and then moved it back in for that. And yeah, cool. You could date someone who could pay for movers. Cool. You could date someone who does X, Y, and Z and pays for X, Y, and Z. But to have someone who emotionally cares about you so much to get on their hands and knees and do it themselves, I think that's just something we should be telling young girls what it is. And I think it just goes back to like, not everyone's gonna live a life where they can 100% financially depend on their significant other. And I think asking for that in this economy in this day and age is wild, and promoting it is wild, because that's always where the conversation goes. Like, oh, I'm not doing no 50-50, I'm not doing this. What's that other trend where it's like, I can't pay the mortgage this month. And it's cute. The videos are cute when it's like, oh, I can't. And I even showed my boyfriend that, and he was like, oh, that's gonna be me. Like, that's your future. And like, that's awesome. That's cool. And that's definitely what you should go for. I'm telling you. I'm not saying in lieu of 50-50, we should be financially like uplifting a man. Trust me, I'm not doing that. But I think the 50-50 conversation just gets lost in like unrealistic worldly expectations. Don't fight me. Don't shoot a messenger. And that's why I feel like the coffee date and the 50-50 goes hand in hand, because I just think it gets lost in real world. Like, it gets lost in the influencer of it all. See, and when your mom told you it's that damn phone, it really was the damn phone, because that's what be doing this. Like, I think that's where why I hate these conversations, and why I hate people's like takes on these two things, is because it just gets lost in influencer world. And it is not, any regular person I saw talk about these two topics always has a good opinion. But when it's some damn influencer, that's when it just goes left. Like, I can't believe y'all took that coffee date and was like, oh, well, y'all just cheap hoes, basically. That's basically what people start saying. It's like, y'all cheap hoes. Oh, you going on coffee dates? You a cheap hoe. Oh, you're not going on a coffee date? Just because a woman's not going on a coffee date does not mean they think their worth is any more than a woman that is going on a coffee date. Either way, bitches is getting played. Okay? So that just miss me. I remember there's this one girl on TikTok. I don't follow her anymore because she's like a Trumpy and like, okay? And she used to go like she used to stand 10 tones down on like, you're a terrible woman if you were letting a man take you on a coffee date. She was a stripper. She didn't nothing but like people with money. Was she a stripper? I think she started as like a bottle girl bartender, and then she eventually became a stripper. And she's like one of those like, you are a terrible woman if you're letting a man take you on a coffee date. You're a terrible woman if you're not letting a man like pay for it. These are regular people you're talking to. your audience is mostly regular people. Your audience median income is maybe 65,000, maybe 70, if that. It's like y'all forget that we're basically in a recession. And that's why I just can't take either one of those topics serious, because it's like y'all forget that like people out here are struggling. Okay, let's move on to the next. And this goes, it's so perfectly, I perfectly lay up all my next topics. Like I really hit myself to lay up every single time. And speaking on today's economy and everything that's going on in the world, do you know what take I hate? Do you know what take is these thought processes are taking over TikTok? And I wish you could mute words and sounds and everything on TikTok. So I did have to see this. The leftist agenda. You leftists, your brain is rotten. Your brain is rotten, okay? As someone who, I would say I'm a liberal, of course, 100% liberal, Democrat, vote Democrat, blue all the way down the ticket. What else? I heard someone say like, "Oh, I'm not a leftist, I'm an equalist," and I would have to 100% agree. And the reason why I hate TikTok's take on the leftist agenda is because y'all will let one worldly issue burn us all down to the ground. And I think, I don't know if I want to go into this yet, but I feel like what is happening in Palestine because of Israel has become such a hot topic and such a like, you have to feel a certain way or you're going to get canceled topic, that now people are looking at you and you have to be a leftist. You have to be so extreme because of what is happening now. And if you're not so extreme, we are going to not support you. And I say this because basically what brought it to my attention is if Gavin Newsom went full Democratic Trump in the news cycle, and I love it. I love what he's doing because I think people don't realize that you need to fight fire with fire. Like if the way Trump and MAGA are, you can't be reasonable with them and expect reasonable results. So I loved it. Here comes the leftists. And I'm going to tell you, really, I didn't even know, I truly didn't even know how leftists felt or think until TikTok. And I think that's like another thing. TikTok is the reason why all of us now know the leftist agenda. And for me, I just feel like the leftist is such a one issue party. They will die on a hill for just one agenda, just one issue. They will die on it. I remember seeing people when like the whole election cycle last year. Well, you're just gonna have to be uncomfortable to get what we want. You're gonna have to be uncomfortable. Why would I let millions and millions of people in the United States be uncomfortable over one issue? One issue. Y'all want me to let so many people in the United States struggle over your one issue. And to me, I can never justify it. And then they have to do the purity politics. Well, we need the perfect candidate. And then they can't even tell you a candidate. Oh, well, we don't need to pick a candidate yet. The next election is until 2028. If you don't think that you need a candidate right now, you're crazy. We need a candidate. We need a candidate like yesterday. Do not let the leftists brainwash you into thinking you don't need a candidate. We need a candidate. Okay? We need them in every single state working and doing what they need to do right now. I promise you, you need a candidate. And to hear leftists get on the internet and be like, no, we don't need a candidate. It just can't be Gavin Newsom. It just can't be. And then you have Bernie Sanders going and attacking Kamala's whole like 100-day like election run. And it's like, there are so many bigger fish to fry. Why you continuously keep bringing up her name and why the leftists keep eating that shit up is exhausting me. That leftist TikTok needs to let you mute words immediately. Okay. And I'm pretty sure TikTok's going to get banned anyway, but you know, we can just let everything crumble on here over one issue. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. I hate it. Next question. This one is an oldie but a goodie. If you have been on Twitter for any amount of time, you have heard this take. You have heard people beat this into the ground, and it has infiltrated TikTok. It's infiltrated TikTok in a very funny way. Like, I love that people are like making jokes about this now. But if you have been on Twitter while it was Twitter, before all of that, when it was still the blue icon, you will know the good old gay son versus thought daughter. This is so unserious, but like when I was like going through all the topics in my head, I was like, I have to talk about this. This is so funny. And this is like one of those topics where I'm like, this is the CIA. The CIA, I fully believe that the CIA has burner accounts on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. They're set up to mimic black people. Like it looks like it's a black person's account, but it's really someone sitting at a CIA office tweeting things. And they have an alarm set for every 6 months to bring up gay son, thought daughter. I'm not even gonna get into it. Like there's literally nothing to get into about the topic. But I swear to God, they have an alarm set. The CIA has a date on the calendar. Every 6 months, we have to bring up gay son, thought daughter. And y'all run it into the ground every single time it gets brought up. And like I said, I'm so thankful that TikTok has like made it like funny now and into we can all hee ha ha about it. But y'all, this is what I mean when I say these topics are like crack in the 80s. This topic is them boys, okay? That is them boys trying to distract us from other things. And I think it always comes out at the perfect time. I think it always comes out when we are trying to be like, when we're really getting together, when we're really in it together, getting our minds right. The CIA tweets gay son, thought daughter. Every single time. I promise you. We need to let it go. We cannot entertain this topic anymore. We can't do it, okay? Going into 2026, I never want to see another argument about gay son, thought daughter. Because then I always think about, what about if I get a red pill son? My God. Could you imagine? There's actually videos. I think you can find videos about that on like TikTok and stuff, about how people are like, I found out my son was like red pill, or I found out my brother was red pill, blase, blase. Like now that's a worry. That's a fear. Gay son, thought daughter, I don't care. I really don't care. Okay? They're trying to keep us divided. And it's so funny because I feel like it's the CIA trying to keep us divided with conservative topics. Like we're playing right into the conservative right when we argue gay son, thought daughter. I didn't think this episode would be so political, but when you really think about it, it is, because like I said, I think it's just it's a scheme Todd set up by the CIA. If I really had to like question it, that's what's happening. My next topic is a topic I'm very passionate about. I'm actually was just like commenting on natural hairstylists' TikTok about this today. And it's braids are not a protective style. And this is just the topic, but like there's so much more to this topic that I want to talk about. And it's just the policing of Black women's natural hair. I have seen, now more than ever, a conversation of what you can and cannot do with your natural hair. And when I tell you, and I made a TikTok about this, these are all things, for the most part, that I've made TikToks about. And it's the Black community right now has such a hold on this idea of length retention. It's like they cannot focus on anything else but length retention. And so I think that's how all these conversations started and how all of them spawned, was this idea of what do I do to retain length? And so it was like, braids are not a protective style. Braids are eating your hair up. The reason you can't retain length is because you get braids all summer. And then when the wintertime comes, or I saw one person that was like, oh, let me stop doing that with my hair, because there's a take in this topic that I have to talk about too as well. But it's like, oh, your silk pressed suck all winter because you get braids all summer. And it's always funny to me because when I see people pushing these agendas about length retention, which you can and can't do to your hair, the main thing they do with natural hair for Black women is straighten it. Like there was even this one lady, she's a natural hair specialist, but all I've ever seen her do is silk presses. And she was like, wash and goes are terrible for your hair. What? And now I get it. I think my biggest thing with this take is that it's like, you should just do what works for your hair. You should do it what works for your hair type. And like, that's going to be different for literally everyone, because everyone has so many factors that go into like what works for their hair. So like my hair, I'm like 4B, 4C, thick, high density, but the strands themselves are fine. And I have low porosity hair. So basically, my hair is just dry as shit. But the good thing is that it can take a beating because I have high density. And I have high density but low porosity fine strands. So no, I can't do wash and goes. No, wash and goes literally are probably the worst thing for my hair. But someone that has a completely different hair type than me can do wash and goes every single day and their hair flourish. Me personally, being a stretch natural, blow drying my hair and then styling it is usually what's best for me, because then I don't get as many fairy knots, and I forgot the word I'm looking for, mainly fairy knots. I don't get as many fairy knots that way. So it's like, yeah, it's just, there's just so much policing on Black women's hair. And I remember when the natural hair movement came around. I think I was like in high school at the time. And I feel like at the time, the natural hair movement was like, okay, please get your hand out of Black women's hair. We're going to stop straightening it to make you feel better. We're going to do what we want to do. We're going to wear it how we want to wear it. And that's it, point blank. And now I feel like that's flipped, and it's like, how can I get my hair as long as possible? How can I retain as much length? So what can I do to my hair? And then these natural stylists get on here and tell you, you can do nothing to your hair. And people eat it up. There's so many times I see TikToks where people are like, they told me all I could do is mini twist to grow my hair, so all I do is mini twist. Mini braids. No, I'm no longer getting braids anymore. And y'all see me, I got a head full of braids right now. Because I had to break up with this idea of length retention, because when you really look at it, why is length retention the goal? Like, why are we harping down on length retention? But it just, like, what, like, I'm just never understood this, like, obsession with it. Like, I get it. Most people feel confident with long hair. Like, that's how most women feel the most confident. But it's just like, girl, just have fun. And I think that's why people get so bored with their natural hair, or say it's childish, X, Y, and Z. And it's because they feel like they can't do anything to it because they're holding on to this idea of length retention. I don't know. That's just me. That's just me. And this is so random. This is another TikTok take where I'm like, whoa there, buddy. What are you saying? And it's like, they can always clock you for dating white men if you tuck your braids behind your ears. That's so extreme. But like, if you tuck your braids behind your ears, they can clock you for dating white men. That's crazy. I just want my hair on my face. Yes, I date a white man, but I want the hair out of my face, okay? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But yeah, I think the main thing is, if I had to summarize everything, kind of like wrap it up, I feel like my main issue is that I said my main issue. My main issue is that people get on Twitter, people get on TikTok, and have this like idea of living life. They look through the lens of an influencer instead of looking through the lens of just regular people. We're at the end of the day, most of us, the majority of us, are just regular people. Like, you can't have certain takes and feel certain ways about certain things if you're just a regular person. You go to work every day, working 9 to 5. You try to see your friends when you can see your friends. Most of us are just regular people, but we look at all these things through this idea of being an influencer. And I think this is why I be telling the youth to go to school and become electricians and plumbers and work blue collar jobs, because we just need regular people. Not all of us can be influencers. Not all of us can live these lives where it's like, you don't have to go into a job 24/7. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. Because I feel like that's where some of these stupid ass takes come from. And I feel like I get it. Like, Twitter is so vast. TikTok is so vast. There's so many people on it. There's so many people with thoughts and ideas. And then when you get a platform where you can just say a little thing, you get comments that agree with you, they just keep saying things, and they just keep feeling like people are going to keep agreeing with them. And then it just takes a turn for left. Every single one of these topics always takes a turn to the left and gets to a point where it's like, you can't even talk about them anymore because it's just an argument. Like, nothing productive comes out of any of these conversations at all. Like, and I'm not one of those like, Black Panther, we need to be talking about this, we need to be talking about that. I love the internet. Let's have fun. Let's hee hee ha ha. But I think at some point we have to realize that we're just regular people living regular lives. Like, and it goes back to what I said at the first one. Like, it's this competition of like, who's the most tricked out. It's this competition of like, who can raise the best child, like, who can be the most politically correct. And it's like, aren't we exhausted? Aren't we exhausted by all of these deciding factors in these, like, on what we put on the internet? Like, sometimes I just want to come on the internet and talk about stupid shit. but y'all be debating whether or not y'all should go on coffee dates. That coffee date conversation went on for 30 days and 30 nights, it felt like. The braids aren't a protective style. I commented, okay, I'll tell you the situation about TikTok. So this girl was basically like, someone else commented on her TikTok and was like, I'm so sick of people telling people with fine hair what they can do to their hair. Like, we can't really do nothing. We can't have nothing. And the girl was like, she basically replied and was like, well, you want healthy hair, right? Like, most people's confidence is connected to if they have long, healthy hair. And it's like, yes, you're right. So I commented and I'm like, yes, but it's so exhausting constantly hearing what you can and can't do. And I think this goes for like every topic that I've discussed today, like, especially the first two. Like, you're, as women, especially as Black women, we are constantly being told what we can and can't do. You can't go on coffee dates because you're unworthy. You can't go 50-50 because what the fuck? Why would a woman ever pay a bill? You can't wear braids. You can't, God forbid you raise your son seem a little gay on the internet because then it ain't got no father. And aren't we all just exhausted? Aren't we all just a little exhausted? And I think that's like where it all stems from. Like, every conversation that gets beaten to the ground, I'm like, aren't we all just a little exhausted? But that's it for today. That's everything I had to say. I could go on about this topic for days and days and days. I could probably think of something right now that y'all talk about on TikTok and Twitter that I think is stupid as fuck. But it's okay. It's okay. And, it's that time to get right on into the song of the week. So, I need a song of the week. I'm going to do this because I have not heard anyone talk about this song. And it's so good. So, if you didn't know, the 20th anniversary of the album by Mariah Carey, The Emancipation of Mimi, was this year. And so she released a deluxe version, like a 20th anniversary deluxe version of the album. And there's a K-Tronada remix of Don't Forget About Us. It's so freaking good. If you haven't listened to it, please go listen to it right now. That's some of his best work. It's still the original song. It's just like he remixed it. He slowed it down. Some of his best work. And I don't hear anyone talk about it. I think it went like mini viral on TikTok like a couple of months ago, maybe at like the beginning of summer. But that song is so good. I highly recommend that. And like I said, it's the 20th anniversary edition of The Emancipation of Mimi. And The Emancipation of Mimi is already a zero skip album. Like, top notch. Some of her best work. I think she added songs too as well to the album. Like, she released new ones. And then she has that remix on there. So yes, go listen to that. And then, as always, where you can find me, I Said Too Much podcast on all your streaming services. Well, you know that you're listening to it. But if you are watching on YouTube, don't make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are listening on audio, make sure to give it 5 stars. And what else? Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. This was a shorter episode. I'm looking at the time. This is going to be a shorter episode, but I don't mind that. I feel like that's okay. But yeah, I will see you guys in next week's episode. I love you, and I hope you have a great week.